This is the News Feed at noon.
The annual Tarrant County College International Fest was held this week, and it didn't disappoint. And a very bizarre and troubling attack in Houston. We'll have the latest. Plus, toddlers in Pennsylvania take flight for a round-trip educational getaway.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Newsfeed at noon. I'm Isabel Price.
And I'm Victor Aldana, and happy Friday. The annual TCC International Fest was held all week here on the Northeast Campus. It was a culmination of live music, DJ performances, free food, and more. There was plenty of student organizations, campus resources, community businesses, and universities. Students had the opportunity to enjoy the dancing, colorful costumes, and company of their fellow classmates. You are listening to Jeff Lankoff, Professor of Music for the Northeast Music Department. During his recital performance this week in College Hall, Dr. Lankoff featured 3 pieces written by contemporary composers who found themselves at a crossroad. One of the pieces performed was in collaboration with his esteemed colleague, Dr. Courtney Newton. All 3 pieces became emblematic for their distinctive styles and artistic journeys.
A 59-year-old Texas woman is in serious condition after apparently being stabbed by 2 small children. Part of the attack appears to be caught on video. Leanna Peason reports.
In surveillance video sent to us by a neighbor at 2:07 p.m. Saturday afternoon, you see 2 small boys on bikes talking with someone. Neighbors tell us it's the homeowner, and she has a complicated relationship with those who live near her.
Lately, it's been getting worse. I guess as her mental illness gets worse, her brain gets worse, so she starts doing crazier things. Just this morning, she was stealing things from her yard guy's truck and was vandalizing their vehicle.
That complicated relationship exploded today. In that home video, we see the 2 boys leaving after a neighbor shoos them away. But just 10 minutes later, they're back. The younger one wearing oversized blue gloves, the older boy black gloves. The older boy can be seen pulling something out of his pants, charging the woman inside her garage and fleeing heartbeats later as she falls to the ground. They leap back on their bikes and roll away.
Never did any of us ever think that it was going to be kids from the neighborhood that come and attack her.
Neighbors say because of the woman's fragile mental state, her family checks on her regularly. Law enforcement say shortly after the stabbing, her brother came by and found her. She was life-flighted to a hospital and went into surgery in critical condition.
Her brother came and checked by just to check up on her. He checks on her daily. At that point, he just came at the right time. He opened the door and saw that she was stabbed.
Just blocks away, only ABC 13 was there as the sheriff's department investigated outside a second home. At one point, a deputy walks a small boy from the patrol car into the house. Deputies could not say if this is where the boys live. They did say they are from the same neighborhood.
Now the concern is, okay, so if these kids have the ability to do that, do we need to start watching the kids around here? My mom is about to live by herself, so that's also the concern now too. So
I'm Liliana Pearson, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Texas welcomed more than 1,300 new citizens on Wednesday. The immigrants from 115 different countries were sworn in during a naturalization ceremony in Houston. It comes as the state is grappling with a bill called SB 4. It's the measure that would allow state and local officials to arrest anyone they suspect has crossed the border illegally. Some of the country's newest citizens support it, while others say it unfairly targets Latinos.
The Coast Guard said they have moved to the recovery phase of the operation at the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. At least 6 people are presumed dead. CNN's Jason Carroll looks at parallels to other deadly bridge collapses in the U.S.
Investigators still in the early stages of piecing together the events that led to the collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. Already comparisons being made to past deadly disasters involving America's bridges. I-40 Bridge, Webbers Falls, Oklahoma, May 2002. 14 people killed, nearly a dozen hurt after freight barges being transported on the Arkansas River struck a pier supporting the bridge. A 580-foot section of road collapsed, sending vehicles careening into the water. Queen Isabella Causeway, Port Isabel, Texas, September 2001. 8 people lost their lives when a tugboat and barge struck the causeway. 11 people drove into the opening below. Only 3 survived. Big Bayou Canot near Mobile, Alabama, September 1993. 47 people died and more than 100 injured in what was seen at the time as one of the worst disasters of its kind in the United States. It happened after barges being pushed by a towboat in dense fog hit the bridge, causing an Amtrak train carrying 220 people to derail minutes later. Rescue crews pulled victims from their partially submerged buckled train cars.
We are so bad at learning from our mistakes and preparing for future instances. We need to assess our infrastructure.
Collisions, not the only cause of tragic bridge collapses. Take what happened at the FIU Footbridge, Miami, Florida, March 2018. 6 people were killed after a pedestrian bridge near the campus of Florida International University suddenly collapsed. The 170-foot-long, newly installed bridge had been under construction. I-35W Bridge, Minneapolis, Minnesota, August 2007. 13 killed, 145 injured. A major interstate at a standstill after the 35 West Bridge collapsed during rush hour. Federal regulators blamed the accident partly on support plates, which they said were half as thick as they should have been. Hyatt Regency Skywalks, Kansas City, Missouri, July 1981. 114 were killed when the walkways on the 2nd and 4th floor of the Hyatt Regency Hotel collapsed due to a design flaw. It was known as one of the most devastating structural failures in U.S. history.
When we return, we'll tell you the cost of a couple East Coast universities that only the fortunate are able to afford.
Jason, let's go see your room.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Welcome back. News of the massive bridge collapse in Baltimore is triggering some painful memories of a deadly bridge collapse that happened in Minneapolis. Nearly 17 years ago, more than a dozen people were killed when the Interstate 35 West Bridge came tumbling down, as Jonah Copeland reports.
Different cities, different circumstances, the same pain.
Well, the video itself is just brings back lots of memories of August 1 of 2007 at about 6:03 p.m. when
Rich Stanek is the former Hennepin County Sheriff and was a key leader during the 35W collapse.
Yeah, we were thinking about families and friends. You know, you've got construction workers on the bridge, people going to and from different places. And you got emergency responders from, I'm sure, a lot of different local, state, and federal agencies coming to the scene.
Those resources include special dive teams. In Minneapolis, they came from the U.S. Navy.
I imagine the more difficult decision, though, the one that bears the most weight, is when it transitions from a rescue to a recovery mission.
It's correct. It's not just a physical toll, resources toll, it's the emotional toll.
This is the memorial in Gold Medal Park across from I-35 on the banks of the Mississippi. 13 pillars for the 13 souls lost on that fateful evening. It was dedicated 4 years after the collapse, August 1st of 2011, underscoring, first of all, that there's no expiration date for grief. But second, a lot of these things take time, including repairs. The distance of the I-35 bridge, a half mile from one end to the other. How long is the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore? More than a mile and a half. I-35 was rebuilt in 13 months, thanks to an emergency $250 million bill from Congress.
And as I said, a bridge just doesn't fall down in the middle of America. But when it does, we rebuild it.
Even if lawmakers move swiftly, the former sheriff said one lesson learned from here is an unexpected challenge: litigation.
People don't like to think about it in those terms, but people absolutely want to know what happened to their loved ones.
Crew members of the cargo ship involved in the Maryland bridge crash are being called heroes. Maryland's governor says the crew quickly notified officials that the ship had lost power prior to the crash. Crews on ships like those are trained to handle similar situations. Katie Brace visited the Massachusetts Maritime Academy to learn more about that training.
Your exercise has been started.
And so now the ship is moving?
We are cruising out of port with a view from the ship's bridge on a container ship. We are in the Massachusetts Maritime Academy Bridge Simulator.
The layout that you see here is pretty typical of what you would find on a large ocean-going vessel.
This is how future mariners are trained before taking their skills to the water. The instructor can determine the type of vessel, time of day, obstacles, and weather. They can also simulate ports throughout the world. Baltimore and Boston are very different harbors. Both do handle a wide variety of ships.
Narrow channels when you're approaching both cities, meaning that there is not necessarily a whole lot of water on either side of the ship or beneath its keel.
Some of those trained on the simulator could eventually become a harbor pilot. They board the incoming vessels to help the crew bring in the ship.
Those harbor pilots are extremely experienced mariners with years or even decades of experience, not only operating ships, but having expert local knowledge of that port.
Captain Mike Burns won't speculate on what may have happened in Baltimore, but his students can expect even more safety lessons.
There will most certainly be some lessons learned that come out of the investigation.
It's a milestone that will be tough on the wallets of prospective college students. $90,000 a year tuition. Several New England universities and colleges have reached or surpassed the $90K mark for undergrad tuition and costs starting this fall. Yale University, Tufts University, Boston University, and Wellesley College are among a few private institutions who will top this year's cost for tuition, housing, and other expenses. Boston University's website says it offers expanded financial aid packages that can make up the difference between the cost of attendance and affordability. A 33-year-old driver is facing charges in this crash that led to the dramatic rescue of a semi-truck driver. The crash happened in Louisville, Kentucky. Witnesses told police they saw Trevor Branham speeding on the bridge and weaving through traffic before he hit a car that was stalled in the right lane. Branham then lost control of his pickup truck and crossed into oncoming traffic before crashing into the semi. The semi-truck driver had to be rescued as his vehicle dangled from the Clark Memorial Bridge. Branham is charged with 4 counts of wanton endangerment and operating on a suspended license.
Rain has moved out of the area, but for how long? Lauren's here with your 7-day outlook next.
Jason, let's go see your room.
Owen.
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
I surrender, I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Today's Good Friday. Sunday is Psalm Sunday. Lauren, how is our Easter weekend looking?
Izzy and Victor, right now we're at 70 degrees, perfect springtime weather for here in Texas. We are seeing some cloud cover, however, those winds, that's what I want you all to pay attention to. That's going to be bringing in that pollen that may affect those more sensitive. High of 78 today. Across the Metroplex, those temperatures are staying consistent, 68 in Dallas, Granbury 66, Waco 68 down south. Going into the evening, those winds will continue. However, they should die down about 8 p.m. Those temperatures are staying around the same, 72 at 8, 69 at 10 p.m. Tomorrow, it's a little bit warmer, 80 degrees. Again, what we expect in spring in Texas. We may see some sun, however, that overcast is staying throughout the weekend. Looking at Sunday, those temperatures are perfect for those egg hunts. 65 at 7. It should warm up all the way to 80 around 6 p.m. Those clouds will be present. Those winds are not too extreme. However, those winds are bringing in precipitation that we can expect the first part of next week. Looking at Monday, you'll see 45% chance of rain. That should die out the middle part of next week. We may even see some sun before the weekend, before that solar eclipse, Victor, where we'll see 60% chance of rain again.
Thank you, Lauren. Definitely looking for the eclipse. A massive storm is slamming the plains with a blanket of snow from Colorado to Minnesota, but now is not the time that many want to be thinking about blizzards. They have their minds of warmer climates. The winter weather is really impacting travel plans, and the Department of Safety reminds travelers of something we've heard many times.
Biggest thing today is if you need to be traveling, slow down. Give yourself some extra time to get where you need to go. Do not put that cruise control on, because as you're driving, the visibility might drop and you're not able to see those road conditions. And if you have that cruise control on, it's going to cause you to lose control. So to keep that cruise control off.
California's notorious San Quentin is clearing out its death row inmates as the maximum security prison transforms into a rehabilitation center. In some cases, these inmates will be moved to lower level security prisons and gain more freedom. Answer Hassan has the story.
The 5 stories of concrete cells that make up what used to be called death row is where Kevin Bernobi has lived since 2011.
As you notice, we're in a cage right now. I'm used to being escorted everywhere in handcuffs.
Bernobi murdered a person, and he knows he will spend the rest of his life in prison. But change is on the way. Governor Gavin Newsom's goal is to fully transform the once notorious San Quentin prison from a maximum security prison into the San Quentin Rehabilitation Center. That means death row inmates, who are now called condemned inmates, are being moved out, and in some cases, being moved to lower-level security prisons and integrated into the general prison population.
But I look forward to the aspect of being able to move around, talk, do things on my own accord. Don't got to worry about officer being everywhere I go, everything I do. Maybe get a job.
We have a total of 399 condemned.
Lieutenant Giamari Berry says 2 years ago the state launched the Condemned Inmate Transfer Program to see if it could produce positive results.
So with little to no hiccups, that pilot program turned into new regulations being set as of January of 2024.
The opportunity for inmates to work means money to pay restitution to their victims. Lieutenant Berry adds, the range of rehabilitation and educational services will also build trust between inmates and staff, which can create a safer environment inside the prison. And she says it's working.
We have several programs here that have a 0% recidivism rate as far as the guys that are transferring out.
The condemned inmates can't stay at San Quentin because it doesn't have an electrified fence. Moving inmates will also save the state money. They hope to move them all by July.
You got to have some type of incentive for somebody, period. If nobody have any incentive, they have no point to grow, no reason to try.
At San Quentin, Ansar Hassan, ABC 7 News.
As we head to the break, we listen to more wonderful music from Jeff Lankoff. Keep it here.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
I surrender, I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Jason, let's go see your room.
That's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Germany's beloved sausage dog, the Dachshund, could soon be verboten in the country. The country's National Kennel Club proposed a new draft law that would ban breeds with skeletal anomalies. The proposal is part of the Animal Protection Act. It aims to strengthen existing laws on so-called torture breeding. It could ban breeding linked to long-term suffering of the animals, like spinal issues associated with the short legs and long back of Dachshunds. Among the breeds that could be impacted, other German classics like the German Shepherd. A spokesman said they are not seeking to ban the Dachshund, but to ban torture breeding.
A special member of the Massachusetts State Police was shot several times during an hours-long standoff. The victim was not a person nor even a canine. Instead, it was a four-legged robot dog named Roscoe.
As Steve Cooper explains, police say these robots may prevent real blood from being shed during similar tense and dangerous moments.
We rely on each other. He relies on me to get fed, and I rely on him to do his job.
For most, a dog is man's best friend. But for state troopers, a robotic dog might just be their best friend.
They're a great tool. They offer us opportunities to go upstairs, open doors, pick up objects automatically, in this case with the Boston Dynamics robot.
It was earlier this month that Trooper John Ragosa and members of the bomb squad responded to a SWAT standoff on the Cape. That's when they sent Roscoe, the remote-control four-legged robot, into the house to locate the suspect. And through a camera, the canine relayed critical information to law enforcement outside. The suspect, armed with a rifle in the basement, first knocked the dog over, but Roscoe has a self-righting function, which meant the dog was back on his feet following the suspect up the stairs. It was then troopers suddenly lost communication with Roscoe, who had been shot by the suspect 3 times.
He was shot 3 times, once in the hand or the gripper, once in the elbow, and one to the body.
The now inoperable robot was brought back to local manufacturer Boston Dynamics, who not only removed the bullets, but requested to keep Roscoe for research. State police say it was a Homeland Security grant through the State Fire Marshal's Office, the Executive Office of Public Safety, and FEMA that's funding this new technology. All this, however, bringing into focus how high-tech tools like robotic dogs are considered lifesavers by preventing the need to put police and real canines into the potential for an exchange of gunfire.
In this case, a robotic dog went down there first and took the rounds that, could have been meant for somebody else.
You're watching the NewsFeed at noon. We'll be right back.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
How you doing? Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
A preschool in Pennsylvania took a creative approach to bilingual learning and leadership skills. Educators at Pasos de Aspira Preschool transformed the front office into a mock airport and the students into curious tourists with passports.
They turned each classroom into a different country with 22 destinations in all for a wealth of cultural education. There was even a mock rainforest and volcano for the kids to explore. The event was 2 days long, complete with checking and stamping of the passports.
We are celebrating, we are traveling around the world because our mission is to create bilingual leaders. So because we have this unit that is traveling around the world, we came with the motto of where bilingual leaders reach their destinations. So we just want students to learn a little bit about their culture, about different Latino countries, and not only Latino, like around the world. So we had China, Thailandia, Egypt. So basically, we just want to incorporate all the community, and we want students to understand that we include everybody in our community.
With Easter just 48 hours away, the Cadbury Bunny is no bunny at all. Hershey announced the 2024 Cadbury Bunny is a 2-year-old raccoon from South Florida.
Louis the Raccoon will soon make his TV debut in a Cadbury commercial. The win also comes with a $7,000 cash prize. This was the 6th annual Cadbury Bunny tryout. The previous winners since 2019 included a rescue cat, a frog, and 3 different dogs. Happy Good Friday and happy Easter weekend, everybody.
Enjoy the weather, enjoy the family, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day.
Oy.